Hello and welcome to another collection at Kawartha Castle Museum and Art Gallery. My name is Cyfarthfa Ball and I work at Kawartha Castle, and today is a really unique and individual connection for you guys. And it all starts with these two paintings in front of me. Now, these two paintings are of the Cyfarthfa Ball. Now, the Kawartha Ball happened in 1847, in March of 1847. Why this ball happened is a really unique story to Merthyr, and it's been mythologised in lots of different ways. So hopefully today we can give you an accurate account of what happened and why this ball existed in the first place. But before I get into these two paintings, the reason this ball was happening can be told through another object in the museum collection, which I will show to you now. What this is another object from the collection at Kawartha, and it's an address printed on satin, and it's printed by H.W. White of Merthyr Tydfil. And as you can see from the top, is an address from the inhabitants of Merthyr Tydfil to Robert Thompson Crochet, Esquire of Cyfarthfa Castle, on his marriage. And this is directly the reason why these two paintings of the Kawartha Ball exist in the first place. So if we go back to May the 21st, 1846, and the marriage of Robert Thompson Crochet, the couple got married in London, and on May the 21st, 1846, were heading back to Merthyr Tydfil to start their new lives at Kawartha Castle. Now, on the way back, the town itself was planning all manner of different festivities to welcome the couple back. Now, it might shock many of you who are familiar with Merthyr and familiar with the Crochets and how they are perceived, to know and to realise that the town was absolutely on fate, as it was. Everyone was up in arms planning a gigantic party to welcome the Crochet newlyweds back into the town. All the people around Merthyr Tydfil were creating bunting and banners wishing the couple well. The various pubs like the Cross Keys Inn and the Crown Inn were making gigantic evergreen arches with "Welcome Home" written on the banners. There was one literally built outside the Kawartha Castle gates that said "Welcome Home" to the couple, and it was all built and paid for by the people of Merthyr. The workers for Kawartha Works were all kitted out in white uniforms with white trousers and white rosettes to hark back to that Yorkshire white rose connection with the Crochet family. And the plan was to meet the couple down in Troydrew. So the whole town started to work their way down to Troydrew through the main town, and there was over 200 horses marching down with a lot of the middle managers of the workforce and the publicans of the town, and, if you will, the middle classes of the town were heading down. All the various groups and societies that made up parts of Merthyr were heading down, along with thousands of other well-wishers. It's no understatement to say that there was thousands upon thousands of people gathering at Troydrew to welcome the couple. When the couple arrived on their carriage, Rose and Robert, the horses were taken away from the carriage, and instantly ropes were attached, and the workmen and the people of Merthyr then pulled the carriage all the way up from Troydrew, all the way up through the town centre. When they reached the town centre, they were met by even more well-wishers, women waving their hankies and all that type of thing. And they were taken through the town, and they were overwhelmed by just the sheer amazing welcome that this couple was having. As they worked their way up to Kawartha Castle, Robert and Rose got out and stood on the front steps of Kawartha Castle, and then William Davis, who was chairman of the welcoming committee but also one of the key workers in the Kawartha Ironworks, he approached the couple with this address. But before he was given to them, he read it out. After that, Robert Thompson Crochet said a few words of gratitude and thanks, but he was just overwhelmed to the point of tears. And then he allowed everyone drink, wine, beer and cake, because the Merthyr confectioners had also got together to make two gigantic cakes to welcome the couple back. One £60 and the other £70, and these were cut up and handed out to as many people as they could be spread out amongst. And the workers, every worker at Kawartha Ironworks was given a quart of beer. And for our purposes now, a quart is 2 pints. And on that day, over 10,000 quarts were given out. So 20,000 pints were drunk. And again, it might seem weird for the couple to be welcomed in this way, but going back in Merthyr's history, you have to realise the Kawartha Castle and the Crochet family formed an incredibly important and central part to the economy and the future of the town. And to know that a new Crochet had taken on a new wife and was planning on making Kawartha Castle their home and planning on making their occupation the ironworks of Kawartha, that was a sign that the future of Merthyr was secure. There was prosperity in the works, and that's how it was perceived, at least by the town. The welcome that the pair received did not go unnoticed by William Crochet, who was the father of Robert Thompson Crochet and the person who built Kawartha Castle. And he then in return wanted to thank the people of the town for their warm welcome of his son and his new wife. And so what he planned to put a party on in Merthyr to thank all of the main people involved in this big welcoming party. And so he organised and paid for in full the Cyfarthfa Ball. For many years a lot of people wasn't sure where the Cyfarthfa Ball took place. But thankfully for us, another object within our collection, a recent acquisition, is actually a ticket to the ball. And on the ticket is dated Monday, February the 1st, 1847, Kawartha Ball, and it's signed by William Crochet, and it says quite specifically, dancing to commence at 8 o'clock. And it gives us a specific location as to where the ball was held, because history tells us that they purpose-built large wagon sheds to hold this event, and they kitted them out, no expense spared, and these large sheds were built in the field next to the Deneva Arms in Georgetown. Now the two paintings give two different aspects. One is the meal and the other is the dancing. So first off we'll start with the meal, and there's even menus about this, but I won't go through the menu because it is insanely long. But as you can probably see, a lot of meat on show in the tables, everybody in their finest dress, and yeah, countless people in their finest ball gowns and all that type of thing. The casks of ale in the background being dished out by the butlers, and the large hunks of meat. At the base of the paintings reads an inscription that says the Kawartha Banquet, given by William Crochet Esquire to the ladies of Merthyr Tydfil and its vicinity in acknowledgement of the high honour they paid his son Robert Thompson Crochet and his bride on their return home Thursday, May 21st, 1846. And it even gives the length of the banqueting hall, 146 foot long and 39 feet wide. An amazing little snapshot. So that's the Kawartha Banquet, and then after the Kawartha Ball itself. The inscription reads the same. Why he specifies ladies of Merthyr Tydfil as well, I should say, is because he was well aware that a lot of the work for the bunting, for the fern wreaths, for the cakes, for all those types of things were directly from the women of Merthyr Tydfil. He was really singling them out for gratitude and thanks. And right at the back of the hall, a large banner that reads Perseverance, with it a plough. Now a plough is featured on the family crest because it harks back to the farming history of the Crochet family in Yorkshire, and just above that the Crochet emblem itself, which again reads Perseverance. And Perseverance, the family motto, came from Richard Crochet and was used right the way through the 19th century. Now the one thing I should say is these images do give a distorted view of proceedings, because we are led to believe that a lot of the workers at Kawartha Ironworks were allowed in to the banquet and to the hall dancing as well, but obviously they were not depicted in these paintings for whatever reason. Now one of the stories that have been handed down through the family, and we don't know whether it's fully true or not, it might have been mythologized, we are not entirely sure, but one of them comes from Francis Crochet. Now Francis Crochet lived in Treforest and was the older brother of Robert Thompson. He was a very eccentric Crochet and very strange in his ways sometimes. But supposedly he was outside the hall, and when they invited the workers in, they specified to take your shoes off because they all had very muddy, strong work boots. So a lot of them took them up and lined the shoes up. but Francis Crochet apparently came along and thought it was hilarious to mix up all the pairs and mix up all the boots. I'm sure that everybody else didn't see the funny side of it, to be honest. So I hope you've enjoyed finding out more about the Kawartha Ball and the marriage of Robert Thompson Crochet to Rosemary Yates. So as ever, like, share where you can, and thank you very much for listening. Hwyl fawr.